Hey everyone, it's our favorite time of year.
It's tulip time! So a few months ago we did a video for our 2022 tulip order, and we will link that video down below in case you missed it.
Yep.
But we ordered a bunch of tulips from Colorblends. The majority of them are going to go in our garden. There are a handful that are going to go in our parents' garden. But today we are going to be getting all of our tulips in the ground. And I know that it probably feels late for most people. I know that you guys probably have already done all of your tulip planting. Your ground's probably frozen in most places. But for us here in the South, it is actually a perfect time to continue planting and get your tulips in the ground. Now, unfortunately, it is quite cold today. We are in the 40s right now.
Yep, I can see my breath.
And that is a con of waiting until later, but for the South, you don't want to plant them too early because then they could start to sprout, and then when it does get consistently cold and you start to have those freezing temperatures, you could run into some issues.
Yeah.
So December, even January is a great time to plant tulips in the South. So today we're going to be getting all of ours in the ground, and we're going to walk you around each area of our garden where we're planting the tulips, show you what varieties we're going to be planting, and talk about our strategy.
Let's go. So before we get started showing you the garden and where all of these beautiful tulips are going, I thought I'd show you how they're shipped. So we order from Colorblends every year. They are our favorite company to order from just because they have so many beautiful varieties. They are time tested. They've been around for a very long time. A few years back, we got some tulips that were the wrong varieties when we got them from stores, and they just sort of popped up all crazy colors. And so we love Colorblends for that reason, but also they just are known for wonderful tulips and lots of beautiful varieties. So they ship them to us in these crates. Obviously, they come right to our door, and then they are bagged up like this, all beautifully, so that you can take them to each spot in your garden and plant them. So we'll show you more about that in a few minutes, but first, let's show you the garden.
So first spot we're going to be planting is right here in the shed bed. We have the sorbetto variety. Now we got 100 of these. We're going to put 50 in this bed, and we're going to put 50 on the south side garden, kind of behind where Brian is standing behind the camera. And it's not going to be as full of a show as some of the other areas that we're going to show you. And that's because we already have a ton of perennials in this spot. So there's just not a lot of open space, but it's still going to be really nice and pretty. So here is our trellis cottage bed. This is personally my favorite bed in the garden. In this bed, we're going to be planting 100 of the Pillow Talk variety. And this variety is the one that I think both of us are most excited about. They're really beautiful double tulips. They are a little bit on the shorter variety, if I'm remembering correctly. And they're just like the quintessential cottage colors to me. It's going to be a really nice addition in here. And this, of course, will be cleaned up more in the spring, and we'll probably even do a little bit today. But we have lamb's ear here in the front, and then there's some Truffula pink gomphrena that we're hoping will come back. So this is just going to be a nice addition to really complement all of the colors well. Now we're in the Union Garden. Over here, you guys know this is our purple garden. Eventually, we're going to have a gravel path going down here, which is why there's not really much grass. We didn't plant much over here. Hopefully, we'll get to that next spring after our wedding. But, of course, we had to plant a purple variety over here. So we have 200 of the Mood Indigo variety, and we're going to plant 100 on each side and just fill it up. It's going to be really nice and beautiful. We do also have a bonus bulb that is going over here that is not a tulip. So we have a grouping of Camasias. They're sort of meadowy, kind of like a tall grass. And I think we'll plant those along the back over here. And you guys are going to be shocked at how full this garden is going to be next year because we're really going for it. The Camasia is really great when it's planted in mass, in a grouping of things. If you've got tall grasses, it's really great. So I think it's going to be a nice addition in the back to give us some height. And it will bloom later on, I think early summer probably for us. Okay, here we are in our moon garden. This is like a nice little winter garden tour. I wasn't anticipating on doing this. But this is our moon garden. Everything in here is blooming white. We've got some hydrangeas in here. There's a white rose. We have some mock orange. And so inside of our boxwood ring here, we have 15 Mount Everest alliums. So these are going to be fully white alliums. If you've seen the Globemaster alliums or Gladiator alliums that are purple, same exact look, they're just white. So there's only 15 of them, and we don't want to block, the rose or the hydrangeas that will be coming up in the spring. So we'll probably try to plant these along the back, but I think that they get around 3 to 4 feet tall. And I will say, we have not had good success with alliums here in our hard red clay. So today we're going to be digging the hole a little bit wider than typical and planting them in some compost, maybe even adding in some sand, just to try to give them a little bit better drainage. Because the last couple of times we have tried, I think that they just rotted in our clay, unfortunately. We have great success with them in containers, but in the ground is a little bit more difficult. So this is going to be an experiment. Hopefully it will work out for us. And if it does, it's going to be a really, really nice show. And I think that the alliums should naturalize and come back for us. So fingers crossed. So that's the inside of the boxwood ring. On either side, we have 100 white lion daffodils. Now, we have not planted any daffodils in our garden yet. Daffodils are a bulb that will actually naturalize for us here in the south. You just kind of leave the foliage up and let it collect all of that energy throughout early spring, and then once it starts to yellow and wither, you can cut it all the way back. So we'll do 50 on this side, 50 on the other side, and it's going to be full. It's going to be beautiful. I almost forgot about this little corner over here. This is just kind of tucked away and behind the tree, so I tend to forget about it. But in our most recent video, you saw us plant a bunch of hellebores back here, and we're also going to be adding 25 snowflake bulbs. So these will also naturalize. They will become a big clump over time. It's just going to be a really nice little dainty flower back here in the spring. We'll add some really cool interest. Okay, we've made it to the front. We're almost done and we're almost ready to plant. Up here in the front, we're going to be planting 200 big apricot tulips. Now these are pretty massive from what the description stated on the Colorblends website. So I'm really excited to see how big and beautiful they are in front of the evergreens up here and in front of the house. So we'll probably plant 100 on this side, 100 on that side. And we typically try to plant them between the boxwoods and the distilleum, so we get kind of like a nice little height going. And it's going to look really nice with the violas that we have here. The orange will complement them well, and we strategically planned that. They will still be here in the spring, and it's going to be a beautiful show welcoming our guests. So now we have one more space. Okay guys, last space. So we're here under our oak tree in the front yard, and we have 600 lemony remedy tulips to plant. Now these are going to be light yellow to white as they age, and we're going to fill this bed up. It's going to be a big show. So we planted, a couple of years ago, we planted 200 tulips, and we were able to make it all the way around the tree. So now we'll be able to extend all the way this way. Now with 600, we will be able to make it all the way around the oak tree, and it will carry us all the way up through the incredible hydrangeas. Now in our original order video, I did say that we got 1,200 of this variety, but we ended up only ordering 600. And I think that's going to be the perfect amount in here. 1,200 would have been a crazy beautiful show, but 600 is still going to be really full. And, we won't be as sore afterwards, only planting 600. So I wanted to talk a little bit about how we're going to plant the tulips. So we have our power planter auger on our drill, which is going to make everything that much easier. But I think for all of the other spaces, we are just going to drill the holes, counting as we're drilling, and then popping in the tulips and covering them up. Up here, however, because this is in our front yard and because we have 600, we want to make sure that we're getting appropriate coverage all through this area. So we're going to lay them all out and organize them all in an arrangement, and then we will come along and plant them all. And it does take a little bit longer to do it that way, but if you have a space that you want to make sure you're getting full coverage, or if it's going to be a prominent space in your front yard, it's probably a good idea to do it that way. Not that it is the right way or the other way is not good enough, but it just gives you appropriate coverage throughout the flower bed. Now, some folks that are in northern climates, you will see them add bulb tone to the holes. And when the tulips come up, they will add bulb tone again. And that just isn't a necessary step for us because the tulips will be annuals. So the nice thing is you get to plan a new tulip plan every single year. So if you plant something and you are not a fan of it or you want to change it up next year, you can do that. So once these bloom and the petals kind of fall off, we will come through and pull all of the bulbs out. And then we'll be ready for other plants, and we can go in with perennials, annuals, whatever we like. If you're interested in bulbs that tend to naturalize more, I would go for daffodils. They are a great option. Even for us here in the South, they tend to naturalize. And so we're excited to see how they fill in our moon garden. Okay, a couple more tips and then we will get started planting, I promise. So when you're planting the tulip bulbs, you want to make sure that you're planting them deep enough. I think all of the bulbs that we have require 5 inches deep, and then the alliums are even a little bit deeper than that. And you want to make sure that you're planting them pointy side up so they can come straight up out of the ground. Now, if you happen to get some of them in there upside down, you may get lucky and they'll come up, but you're definitely going to have a better shot if you plant them appropriately. So you'll be able to tell there will be a flat side with kind of roots coming out and then a pointy side, and you may even see some growth points, and then that's just going to let you know, plant that side up and you'll be good to go. So with that, I think we are going to grab our auger and get started. All right, everyone, this has been a marathon of a project, but we are finally done with all of our bulb planting for the season.
Yeah.
This ended up taking us over a period of 3 days, but we had to take a few breaks in between to celebrate the holidays. And then, of course, we got the incredibly cold deep freeze that came through, which never happens to us in December, but the ground here was actually pretty frozen, and we could not even get our auger through the ground. So we waited a little bit, and now it has thawed out again. We're in like 60s in Charlotte, which is great. That's the weather we like to see in December. Yeah. But we got all the bulbs in the ground. We did have some left over. We had some snowflakes left over that we popped in along the fence with the white hydrangeas that you guys saw us plant over the summer. And then we had a lot of daffodils and tulips left over, so we potted them up in some pots. And we'll see how they look in the spring.
Yeah, I think it's going to be so beautiful. Colorblends, thank you so much for partnering with us on this, and we just love those bulbs, and we will continue ordering in the future. If you guys are interested in learning more about spring blooming bulbs or Colorblends, be sure you go to their website at colorblends.com.
And with that, we want to welcome you to 2023. It's a brand new year. There's all kinds of possibilities out there. We hope 2023 is going well for you guys so far. On that topic, we're going to be changing it up this year. We're going to be shifting our video release day to Wednesdays. We're going to do one video per week. I think that's going to allow us to be a little bit more consistent for you guys. So every Wednesday, meet us right here at 6 a.m. Grab your coffee, wake up with us, and see what we're doing out here in the garden.
Yeah. If you guys like this video, be sure that you subscribe to our channel so you can get reminders every Wednesday when we post a new video. And we will see you in the next one.
Bye.
Hey everyone, it's our favorite time of year.
It's tulip time. Well.
Hey everyone, it's our favorite time of year. It's tulip time.
Well, now, are we saying it's?
We're saying tulip time.
You said it's this time. You said it's tulip time this time. I said it's tulip time last time.
First of all, your nose hairs are out of control.